Final question on this test, use the distributive property to find each product. Use a generic area model to organize your work if needed. Particularly with a question like C, I would want to use a generic area model, and perhaps even at this point you might consider doing it with B, at least until you're really sure what's going on, so that you're kind of being careful and you're collecting up all the values. Now A and D we could probably do without the generic area model. In fact, I'm going to do that first. The most simplest form of the distributive property is I'm just going to distribute this 3 to the two terms that are inside of the parentheses. So this is going to become 3x plus 18. 3 times x is 3x and 3 times 6 is 18. For question D, I need to distribute this x to both the negative 2 and to the 3x inside. So when I go ahead and do that, I get a 3x squared, and then negative 2 times x is a minus 2x. So let's go ahead and look at B, and I'm going to go ahead and use a generic area model. And I'm just going to quickly sketch. This is simple because it's just a 2 by 2 box. Across the top, I'm going to write an x and then a negative 11. And down the side, I'm going to write a 2x and a positive 3. And then I'm just going to go ahead and multiply the row and column to fill in each one of the boxes, right? So 2x times x is 2x squared. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 11 is negative 33. And then 2x times negative 11 is negative 22x. Now I can see that I have two terms that are like terms, right? Negative 22x and 3x are like terms. So I'm going to combine those for my final answer. So my final answer will look like 2x squared. And then if I combine negative 22 and plus 3, that'll give me a negative 19x. And then finally we have to tack on the negative 33. So that's a 2 by 2 model, generic area model. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use a generic area model for C. So across, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and make it 3 across the top. One of mine has 3 terms, right? I've got an x plus 3y and then a minus 4. And the other one has 2 terms in it. So I can write this as y plus x. That's the first. That's the binomial there. Then I also have an x, and I've got a 3y, and I have negative 4. So again, let's go ahead and multiply the row and column to fill in each of these values in the table. X times y is xy. X times x is x squared. 3y times y is 3y squared. Negative 4 times y is minus 4y. Let's see, 3y times x is 3, I'm going to write it as 3xy. 3xy and 3yx are the same, commutative property multiplication. And then finally, negative 4 times x is minus 4x. It turns out there are 6 things there. 2 of them are like terms. You can see that I've got an xy, and I also have a 3xy. Those can be combined to form one group. So let's go ahead and write our answer there. And it's kind of a longer answer, so I'm going to try and use smaller handwriting to fit everything in. The first thing I have is an x squared. And the next thing I'm going to write is plus 3y squared. Just my preference that you write descending powers of x. The next thing I've got is the x's and y's together. You can see I've got 1 xy and then 3 more xy, so that's a total of plus 4xy. And then the last 2 things I have is there's a minus 4x and a minus 4y. So minus 4x minus 4y. So that's the end of this test. I hope going through this has been helpful for you. If you have any questions that you'd like to discuss further, please see me in class or during office hours, before school, after school. I'd love to get together with you and answer any questions that you have.